Welcome to Time with the CEO, and today we're joined by the CEO of MTN, Ralph Mupita, and we're also joined by the Senior Vice President, Ebenezer Asante. Thank you all for joining us, and I believe both of you are doing very well.
Thank you.
Very well. How about you?
Well, we're also doing very well. And Ralph, let me start off with you because we know that you've been coming to Ghana, but as we say in Ghana, it's important we welcome you the Ghanaian way.
Yeah.
So what brings you here this time?
Yeah, I mean, I feel I'm at home.
Yeah.
Always in Ghana. It's the beginning of the year, 2026, and it's important for me to start by coming to visit and our teams here, as well as the authority stakeholders, to give our best wishes. And also to talk about our plans that we have more generally. So I've had several courtesy calls with various authorities. We spent some time at the Bank of Ghana. We spent some time GIPC. We met Minister Sam George to discuss matters of mutual interest. And then spending time with our teams as well as some of our board members here. So the last 2 days, been busy with that.
Now, you talk about this being the beginning of the year. So that gets me to ask how this fits into MTN's strategy for the year.
Yeah, before we talk about strategy, I think part of coming here is to kind of commit the MTN Group's position in terms of seeing Ghana as an attractive destination for investment. Attractive destination for investment in digital infrastructure. We are very encouraged, very pleased with what we've seen the MTN Ghana business do. The last 5 years, we spent about $1 billion equivalent into capital expenditure. We're going to spend $1.1 billion now in the next 3 years. So there's an acceleration of investment that excites us. We think the opportunities for digital inclusion, financial inclusion are significant, and we want to be seen by the government of Ghana as a partner for progress within His Excellency's vision, for the country. So part of the visit was to reaffirm that. And I think it's important. I think the second is that we think about our strategy within the context of where the nation state is going. So for Ghana, we need to tailor our own strategy around that. And we see two engines here. The one, which is the digital economy, building out digital infrastructure. Just this year alone, we will roll out another 500 minimum new sites to deal with quality of service and expanding coverage. On the mobile money side, we have an intent, to provide more what we call advanced services. And we spend a bit of time talking to the Bank of Ghana, the governor, and the broader team, particularly in fintech, around what our thought process is. So all of these things are linked to strategy.
Okay. And you've talked about, the engagements that you've held over the week. You've talked about the Bank of Ghana. You've talked about meeting with the communications minister. Could you share with us some of the other key engagements you've had this week? Yeah,
so Ghana Investment Promotion Commission was the GIPC. We spent some time recommitting ourselves as a major investor within the Ghanaian economy. We spent time with the CEO and the team there, recommitting ourselves not only from a point of investment, but we spoke about the intangibles. Simon spoke a lot about how to think about what is it that Ghana can get from a multinational, and he used the phrase intangibles, talking about how do we take Ghanaians into other markets, train them, give them opportunities for growth? How do we bring global best practice? And how can we be a company that is seen internationally as a bellwether company that talks about the investment case for Ghana as a country? And we pledged ourselves to play that role actively in the course of this year. At various events and forums that will happen in the year. So I think you'll see us, being spokespeople for the country, because we said in Ghana we see a lot of stability, we see a lot of regulatory certainty that enables us to take a long-term perspective. The GIPC was a very interesting meeting for us.
Let me bring in Ebenezer Asante because I'd like to understand, these engagements that you've had, why are they important for MTN?
No, thank you. As Ralph indicated, we are only able to move forward based on the country strategy. And coming here, when you have the group CEO coming to engage the authorities to reaffirm the strategy and our commitment to partner the nation state forward, and also take the opportunity to understand what is it that we can do together. So we are not only here talking about some of the things that we have done in the past, but also in our solutioning mode to find out what can we do together. So Ralph cited the example of what we agreed, for instance, with the GIPC, so that we would also be a promotion vehicle for them as well, based on the shareholders we deal with across MTN Group. Most of those shareholders also have interest in Ghana and investment in Ghana, whether it's stock, the bonds that they buy, or investment in one way or the other. When anyone is coming into this country, they will look out for who are the material investors in this market, if indeed they are bringing capital. And MTN Group is one of the people that they will engage. And we have the opportunity to also share with them, amongst others, what our experience has been, what we are seeking to do, the investment commitments, amongst others. So all this, when you bring it together, tells you that such visits led by the group CEO himself is very, very important.
Okay. Yeah. And let me just stay with you because within the broader MTN Group portfolio, how is Ghana currently positioned, and is the market outperforming its peers in terms of digital adoption?
Ghana is positioned very well, and you may look at it both in terms of its historical account. This is a market that over the past 10 or more years has consistently delivered double-digit growth. Over this period, it's only 2 years that Ghana underperformed against inflation. Otherwise, consistently, we have attained real growth all through. And what is even more exciting is into the future. Then you ask yourself, is the OPCO suited and fit for purpose? And is it suited and fit for the future? And you may look at it in terms of its positioning. This is one OPCO that does not just rely on one service. The voice, the traditional service, is just one of them. Data is growing. FinTech is growing. And some of the new services like digital, we are beginning to see traction. They are also modernizing the user base, getting more and more customers to adopt app, more and more customers to adopt smartphones. And beyond the consumer segment, also now venturing into the home category, amongst others. So it's not a business just on one leg. It's a business on multiple legs, and all the legs are growing. And even as we see today's growth, we are also very clear that into the future, there are other new pillars that will take over from today's getting matured business into the future. So if you look at it both in terms of the historical metrics as well as the more futuristic ones, Ghana is well positioned. Its peers, not only within MTN, but even its peers across the market and in the continent. You can just check for yourself in all accounts, whether it's growth, whether it's social impact, whether it's economic inclusion, financial inclusion, etc., Ghana is a real poster boy.
I just wanted to add, maybe I can just add, if you may, just to your question to Ebenezer. Ghana is very well positioned within the group, and I wanted to congratulate the team. One of the reasons I'm here on the performance that they delivered in 2025. I mean, next week, the financial results of MTN Ghana will be released to the market, so I can't talk about them now. But what I can say is the following. We have what we call the $1 Million Challenge, which is an internal competition of what the best operations are doing. MTN Ghana was the best operation across MTN markets in 2025.
Wow. Yep.
So much commendation to Stephen Blewett and his team for their achievements. I think the second proof point about Ghana's importance is we are going to accelerate capital investment within the business. So $1.1 billion equivalent of capital investment into building the infrastructure. And that's over a 3-year period. We did the last billion over 5 years. So the acceleration is giving you confidence that it is a material opco. Okay. The final point is, and one of the communication points to the team today, up until end of last year, we've had 2 major subsidiaries within the context of the MTN group across all markets, serving the 300 million plus customers. And that was South Africa and Nigeria. This year, we're adding Ghana as the 3rd major subsidiaries for the whole group, purely as a function of its the way it has performed and the potential that we see going forward of this operation. And it is a significant achievement. And I want to thank the teams here and also commend the board who guide and govern this company. And this is now a major subsidiary of the group.
Great. I mean, earlier you talked about, the outcomes from these meetings that, stakeholder engagements that you've had in the course of the week. I'd like to find out how these outcomes, would influence MTN Ghana's strategic direction going forward.
Yeah, I mean, let's take them kind of one by one. The discussion, with Minister Sam George were really about quality of service. How do we improve the quality of service for everyday Ghanaians? We understand there's some issues, particularly in the peri-urban and rural areas. And so we're solutioning around what is it that we'll do. Our commitment to Minister Sam George was we already have 5,000 odd sites where we have telecommunications equipment that connects our customers here in Ghana. Just this year alone, we're going to add another 500. Prior year, it was 50. So we're doing 10x what we've done in recent times just this year to deal with that issue. So we made that commitment to him around quality of service and improving broadband coverage. We spoke to him about our belief that 5G spectrum made available would enable and empower everyday Ghanaians in terms of their home connectivity. So that was one set of issues. With the Bank of Ghana, to the governor, we committed that we would work with the bank around some of the scams and the fraud. We're not happy about that. And I guess it's a general trend. And to be honest, we see it in other markets. We sometimes call it social engineering. So this is an area where we're going to bring AI to improve the ability to deal with scams and fraud that we see, particularly in the mobile money market. And as I said, it's not a Ghanaian issue. It's actually quite pervasive. The GIPC, I think we spoke about the commitments that we've made to be a partner for the and a willingness to support them as they endeavor to tell the Ghana Inc. story to international investors to attract capital. We will be there, as we said, as their poster child.
Now, beyond these areas that you've shared with us, are there any specific areas where you see immediate opportunity or priority following the discussions you've had?
Yeah, I mean, there are some action points we took out, to be clear, and I think I've covered most of them. I think the other areas that we are very interested in as MTN, not only MTN Ghana, but MTN Group bringing capital into Ghana, is the areas around digital infrastructure. The way we think about how do we invest more in fiberizing, the country of Ghana. So we have a unit called Baobab. The overarching unit we actually called MTN Digital Infrastructure is, we see that the need to build these digital railroads, fiber being one of them, is an area that we can participate and support. Okay. We understand the government of Ghana is really looking at the role of AI and major data centers. We put our hand to be a partner for that kind of initiative, if so deemed viable and acceptable to the government of Ghana. We want to support as much as we can initiatives around digital skilling and AI. We recently, Stephen and the team recently donated $2 million around coding for the youth. We're also interested in supporting the youth in particular in developing their creative skills so that they become content creators, not just content consumers. There's a lot of talent in this country. I think we'd all admit to that. How do we leverage the digital economy to create a platform for that talent to build their own creative content they can sell, that they can build? So these are some of the areas that we, we would want to participate and support the government if it's deemed fit.
Let me bring in Ebenezer at this point. Now, given the evolving fiscal landscape in Ghana, what's your sentiments regarding the business's resilience and growth trajectory over the next 12 to 24 months?
So in terms of resilience, let's look at some of the experience that MTN Ghana has gone through. MTN Ghana has gone through very difficult periods and moments over the years. If I take a look at the past 10 to 12 years, we know of some of the massive macroeconomic shocks, inflation, currency depreciation, and the cycles that we have been through. The most recent one being the DDP period. Because of the business's resilience and how it's positioned, during that period, MTN Ghana still scaled through. And that was not done by default. It was done clearly by design. And they had models to manage the business being heavily capital intensive to still minimize the forex shocks at the same time. They did so also in collaborating with the central bank, in engaging with the fiscal authorities and the Ministry of Finance, amongst others, arranging certain protocols, including the use of gold, to ensure that we were even at the time able to, procure equipment to deploy in this country to build the digital infrastructure that Raf talked about, and also even paying dividends, amongst others. So I may use this as a proof points of resilience into the in terms of the past. But going forward, the areas of importance is not only the commercial side of growth and also the network deployment, but it's also positioning ourselves to take full advantage of the current environment that we see. And doing so also within the environmental context. We know the issues around gold, and we know that currently the country is taking advantage of the windfall. And as we all know, in the situation of commodities, it will not keep going up. This business is ready for that. Should it come down, and when it comes down, what are the implications? We are ready for that, as an example. So talking about resilience is not just the Ghana situation, but also building resilience based on the geopolitical context and within which Ghana operates into the future.
Great. So let me come back to you, Raf. And you've talked about all the discussions you've had. You've talked about the importance of Ghana within the larger group. Now, based on all the discussions you've had this week, what are your expectations for MTN Ghana in the months ahead, say in 2026?
Our expectations are high and lofty, if I can use those words, as always. And the business has has always met our expectations, certainly in the last decade I've been in the business. So I think there's a caliber of a team and a business that does deliver. But the delivery is fashioned and framed around what is the nation state needing. And part of the discussion we had with one of the stakeholders was, what could the digital economy do for Ghana to leapfrog and advance the socioeconomic agenda? I made an example of India, that in the last decade, that if you've been traveling to India and you stopped traveling a decade ago and you're traveling now, you can't recognize the country. Why? The number one essential issue is the role of the digital economy to drive growth and socioeconomic progress. National ID system, the Aadhaar program, means every Indian has a national ID and it's electronic. Taking out cash out of the system, but creating payment rails that enable everybody to afford transactions. Everybody in a rural area can be part of an e-commerce platform, a national, international e-commerce platform. That's enabled by digital infrastructure. And it's a country with 1.5 billion people with a thick layer of 5G, that even in the village, people have 5G, which enables them to better their lives and meet their prospects. So for me, when you look at that country as an example, to me it's very evident that Ghana can have such a transformation. Okay. There's the raw talent, the human capital that is here, the ingenuity, everything is here. Nothing stops Ghana from being, to leapfrog its own ambitions by a decade by deploying digital economy and digital infrastructure going forward. Very excited. And as I said, we as MTN look at how can we be partners for progress for the country over the next decade or two.
Great, Ralph. So finally, what message would you like to share with your employees and stakeholders as you wrap up the week's engagement?
Yeah, it's been a fantastic couple of days. I always come here, get super energized. I think I have a new wardrobe. The team have given me a new wardrobe. And I know it's not a blouse,
No, it's not.
It's not a blouse, okay? And I think I'll probably wear it on my next trip as I visit my colleagues and friends in Zambia and encourage them to recognize and appreciate. I take a lot of energy and positivity from the people. It's infectious in a way that is positive. And as I said, to me, the future is exciting for this country. We didn't have debates with the team Jollof Rice Wars with my colleagues in Nigeria, which often comes up as part of the discussion. It's a jolly and a nice bit of banter between the teams. But on a more serious note, as I said, we're truly excited as the MTN Group about the opportunity. We want to allocate more capital in Ghana because we think that capital will have socioeconomic impact. So we're super excited, and I think you'll see us, deepening our commitment in Ghana, and that's exciting for the future.
Mm-hmm. Anything you want to say finally, Ebenezer?
Two things.
Okay.
Even as we perform, we'll still have to transform at the same time, and we'll take advantage of AI, the digital economy example that Ralph cited, and we have a fantastic team to take the business forward into the next 10 years.
I like that. Even as you perform, you need to transform. Yeah. I'll keep that. Thank you very much, Ebenezer Asante, Senior Vice President, MTN. And thank you, Ralph Mupita, who is Group CEO. Thank you very, very much for joining us. My name is Winston Amwa. Enjoy your day.